What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to show you a clip today, and we're going to talk about it. This is former Vice President Mike Pence. He's going to be talking about privatizing Social Security. Now, this is recent. This is a couple of days ago that he was talking about this. So for those of you out there that are thinking Republicans, they're not talking about touching Social Security or cutting Social Security, you have politicians that are currently talking about this. Mike Pence will be running for president, so he could potentially be president. And just think, if you're in a situation where he's president and he's talking about privatizing Social Security, that will put everyone in danger. And I'm going to talk about why it will put everyone in danger, because he's going to talk in this clip about it's not going to affect anyone who is currently receiving Social Security, but the reality is it will. And we'll talk a little bit about that in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. Okay, so before we get started, make sure you wait till the end of this video. I will have that code. Now, that code will come up at the last screen. So that last screen, when you usually see this kid, and he's in Colombia. You guys, people are asking me about that as well. The kid that's breakdancing in Colombia, that's where the code will show up. Right there. So you have to wait until the very, very end. I did have some people say, well, I waited till the end and I didn't see the code. If you go to that last screen, that's when you'll see the code. If you put in that code, I'll make sure to reply to your comments. I have a backlog now. There's some people that replied to the last video that I posted, and I haven't replied to them yet, but I will get to that. And then I'll also make sure to reply to the comments in this video. So let's go ahead and play this clip. So I'm going to play it all the way through, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. Here we go.
Men and women, 70% of what we spend at the national level is on entitlements. And the truth is, we've got to have a conversation. I was a part of it when George W. Bush proposed Social Security reform in 2005. The time has come for us to have the kind of leadership that says to everyone that's got hair the same color as me, nothing's going to change for you. But to give younger Americans better choices that would also be better for the country, I think is an idea whose time has come. I think it's absolutely essential that we generate leadership in this country that'll be straight with the American people, that will take us off this trajectory of massive debt that we're piling on the backs of those grandchildren, and says there's a way back. There are modest reforms in entitlements that can be done without disadvantaging anybody at the point of the need. And actually, I think the day could come when we can replace the New Deal with a better deal. Literally give younger Americans the ability to take a portion of their Social Security withholdings and put that into a private savings account that the government would oversee.
Okay, so there was former Vice President Mike Pence talking about this privatized Social Security, taking a portion and putting it in this savings account that would be overseen by the federal government. Now, let's talk a little bit about this, because you did hear him he mentioned it twice when it came to older people. They're not going to be affected by this. This is only going to be for people who are younger. They really haven't given us an age yet, but I would say around 54 or 55, those people would be allowed to take this money, take a portion of the payroll tax that you're paying in, and put it into some type of a private savings, which basically what he's talking about is he's talking about investing. That's what he's talking about there. Now, he was talking in a conference. He was speaking to the audience was basically business owners and just business people. And the fact that he's talking to business people, I think this is one of the main reasons why he was talking about privatizing Social Security, investing the money, because business people want to hear that. More investment is good because their companies could be part of the investments, right? Because if you have an ETF or a mutual fund that the Social Security money will be invested in, of course they want to hear that because it could be investing in their company. So that's one thing. Now, let's talk a little bit about what he's saying, because this is one of those things where I don't like when politicians get out there and they start talking about different things, different ways to do things. And obviously this could not work. And let me just explain to you why it wouldn't work. So let's look at our system right now. Our current system, the payroll tax, the FICA tax, that money is what's going towards Social Security. And then we have several trust funds that are offsetting the shortfall. So basically, the FICA tax, it's not enough. That money that's going to Social Security, it's not enough. And that's where the trust fund will come in and it will offset the money that's needed. So let's say, and I'm just giving you an example, 80% is coming from the FICA tax, and then the rest is coming from the trust fund. So that's what we're currently looking at. Now let's just work through his logic when it comes to taking money out of the FICA tax, because that's what he's talking about. The payroll tax that you're paying in when you're working, you're paying that 6.2%, and your employer's paying 6.2%. That's the money that he's addressing. And in the future, I'll do an illustration where I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about here. But hopefully, you'll understand what I'm saying. At least get a grasp of what I'm talking about. So let's say you make $100,000 a year. You pay 6.2%. Your employer pays 6.2%. So in total, that's $12,400 that you are contributing every year. Let's just say that's the situation. And then they'll allow you to take, let's say, $4,000 of that out, and you can invest that. So you put it in an ETF or mutual fund, basically put it in that savings that he was talking about. But let's just look at this. In our current state, if you made $100,000 and so your employer contributed and you contributed, so that would be $12,400 that would go to Social Security to help the people who are currently receiving benefits. And so what Mike Pence is saying is you can take a portion of that $12,400 and you can put that in a savings, a long-term savings investment, right? And so you're taking a portion of that, so that you're no longer, that $12,400 is no longer going to Social Security. You're going to take a portion. So let's say you take $4,000 out of it. Now you have less money going to the Social Security Administration, and everyone is doing this. Everyone is putting their money into this private savings, and so now Social Security, they're stuck. They don't have the same amount of money coming in as they had before. And so what do they need to do? They need to go to the trust fund and pull more money out of the trust fund. That would deplete the trust fund much sooner. Now you're hearing that 2034, 2035, that's when the trust fund will run out of money. That trust fund could run out of money in 5 years from now if they go along and they have this privatized Social Security. And so that's the danger there. Now, he's saying that it wouldn't affect people that are currently receiving Social Security. Yes, it would affect them, because let's just say 5 years down the road, the trust fund is depleted. We already know if the trust fund is depleted, automatically there's going to be a reduction of about 23% unless they do something. So something would need to be done much sooner if we went along with the privatized Social Security. So it's not going to do anything as far as extending Social Security out. It's also not going to provide like a $200 raise every month. It's not going to do that. And so the only thing that they could do if they wanted to move to privatizing Social Security, they need to raise the FICA tax, and they need to raise it a sharp raise, because it can't be subtle. If it's a subtle raise, that investment money is not going to be the same. Basically, what they would have to do is allow it to stay the way it is right now. As far as let's say you make $100,000, so that $12,400, allow that to stay the same, raise the FICA tax up, and then whatever's left over, have that be invested. And that would keep things pretty much the same way that they are now. And if it does well, then you're better off. However, if the market crashes, you could lose a lot of money. And that's the danger here when you're talking about privatizing Social Security. And another thing that they never mention when they talk about privatizing Social Security, you have a middleman in there. You have someone watching your money. And guess what? That person watching your money, they're making money. And so right now, we don't have a system that's set up that way. So that money goes to the Social Security Administration, and they divvy it out that way. But if you have a middleman in between, you have someone watching your money, they're going to be making money on your money. And that's another thing. So you'll actually be getting less in situations, even if the market does bad. If the market does poorly, they're still getting their cut. You're just going to be out of a lot more money. And so I'm really surprised that politicians are still talking about privatizing Social Security, but they are. And like I said, he's running for president. So this is his idea, and he went back to talk about George Bush and his plan, and George Bush did want to privatize Social Security. And so he's not the only one that's talked about this. You have other politicians that are talking about this right now. And this would be a serious problem for people who want to retire as well as people who are already retired, because you're going to be looking at a situation where there will be cuts because they don't have enough money for you to set aside money and then have money to go to Social Security Administration so they can fund the people who are currently receiving benefits. So hopefully that makes sense. I will do an illustration in the future, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. But I'm just telling you, privatizing Social Security, this is already, you had the Congressional Budget Office look at this, and they say it just won't work. It won't work unless you raise the FICA tax. But you still have politicians talking about this. I want to know what you guys think about this. And I just talked a couple of days ago. If you didn't check that video out, I did a couple of videos on Senator Bernie Sanders. He has a plan. He wants a $200 raise for Social Security, and he talks about his plan. And so check that video out. Maybe I'll do a video in the future where I'll put both plans together and see the pros and cons of each plan. I want to know what you guys think about all this, so let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.